Hey, what's up, y'all? So, today I'm gonna be doing some commentary on this YouTube prank, and I'll begin my commentary on Dr. Grande Venti Supreme Mocha's passive aggressive hypocritical douche commentary. All right, so first I'm gonna share the clip of the YouTube pranks. Y'all know what we're talking about. It's only 16 seconds long. Let's begin.
What's that mean?
Quit thinking about my twinkle.
No.
Hey, quit thinking about my
Get out of
twinkle.
my face and call cops on me. Stop.
Hey, quit thinking about my twinkle.
Stop!
So there, what exactly just happened? Well, the the quote unquote Wiggers, shall we say, the YouTube prankster, the Wigger pranksters, they were playing a fucking robot, some kind of ringtone with a robot voice saying, "Hey dipshit, stop thinking about my tinkle." Now you're probably thinking, what? That doesn't make any sense. Well, yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but it's just, that's the point. It's just a fucking silly prank. And oh, by the way, kids are usually told what? You too sensitive. You take it too personally. Toughen up and do some reaction. Okay, and let me tell you something. Me personally, when I was a kid, I was expected to put up with far worse mental abuse than someone playing a fucking ringtone saying, "Hey dipshit, stop thinking about my tinkle." I mean, I was expected to put up with way worse bullshit as a kid. And lots of people in general were. All right. So the point here is, if you are one of the plethora of faggot homo stupicons who preach all this thick-skinned bullshit to kids, you have no right to act all mortified and clutch your pearls and shit when some silly goose Wigger pranksters, yeah, look to me like they're in their late teens, early 20s. You have no right to claim about these Wigger pranksters playing cuss word ringtones at people. Okay, like you told them this was fine to do if you preached all this thick skin bullshit. Okay, and most of the faggots who are criticizing the Wigger pranksters and taking Alan Coley's side. Alan Coley's the guy who shot him. Yeah, like most people who are doing that, they themselves preach thick skin, and they themselves expect kids to put up with far worse mental abuse than a ringtone saying, "Hey dipshit, stop thinking about my tinkle." You know what I'm saying? So there. I personally, I do not claim to be an expert in mental health, but I'm pretty sure that's the real reason why the Wiggers thought that it was fine and dandy to play that silly goose message to people, okay? Because they were probably mentally abused way worse by their own fucking parents and or siblings and or classmates and or teachers and or youth ministers and or whoever the fuck. I mean, you get the idea. All right. So next, I'm going to share with you a so-called mental health expert who claims to provide a safe, non-judgmental space. So this is a clip. I'm going to play this small clip real quick where Dr. Grande, Venti Supreme Mocha, where he claims that counseling is all about not judging people and providing a safe, non-judgmental space. Let's watch this real quick.
Categories. So if someone finds themselves really preoccupied with these beliefs, it may be a good idea to talk to a counselor. Counselors don't try to change what people believe. They don't judge, but they can help people to clarify their values and explore.
Interesting. Yeah, this is a very typical thing that breeders I'm going to say counselors. I say it's a safe, non-judgmental space. But is it really a safe, non-judgmental space? Let's find out. All right, let's see what Dr. Safe, non-judgmental space has to say about the Wiggers' silly pranks, which so many people think are so offensive and politically correct, even though we all know that statistically speaking, most of those assholes, they expect kids, fucking non-consenting minors nonetheless, to put up with far worse abuse than being forced to listen to some silly ringtone saying, "Hey dipshit, stop thinking about my tinkle." All right, they're expected to put up with way worse mental abuse than that. Okay, again, now is Dr. Grande going to ever mention this shit? Is he ever going to try to see things from the Wigger's perspective? Probably not. All right, probably not. It just seems to me that the real reason why people are targeting the Wiggers, the Wigger pranksters, is because they're Wiggers, all right? And most, quote unquote, and most people in general don't really seem to like Wiggers, and they just think that it's gay to dress up like that, and they just want to bully people who they think are weird and different, all right? Because, again, the bottom line is most of the people who scream bloody murder at the Wiggers, profane phone ringtone prank, okay, most people who bitch at that, they themselves are total hypocrites. They abuse people way worse than that, and they act like it's no big deal. All right, they abuse their kids worse than that. They mentally and even physically abuse their kids in a far more sadistic manner. They say it's fine, no big deal, get over it. Oh, but then you wonder why some kids may start to think that's okay to do these profane ringtone pranks. Fuck you, faggot. Look, again, in my opinion, you are only allowed to complain about the Wiggers pranks if you yourself don't hyper preach thick skin. That's in my opinion the only case in which you're allowed to complain about it. Let's continue.
Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I offer an update on the case of Tanner Cook? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about
But by the way, he's the Wigger, if you don't already know.
What could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis. This case takes place in 2023 and primarily involves two people, Tanner Cook and Alan Walter Coley. First, I'll take a look at Tanner Cook. Tanner is a social media influencer who posts videos on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. He lives in Loudoun County, Virginia, which is an extremely wealthy area just west of Washington, D.C. At the time of the incident, he was 21 years old. Tanner's YouTube channel is called Classified Goons. He and his friends record prank videos where they target innocent victims in public places. Here are a few examples of the types of pranks Tanner perpetrates: trying to fire employees at stores where he does not work, asking workers to assist him with stealing, pushing recording devices in people's faces, accusing shoppers of stealing while dressed as a security guard, grabbing items that a shopper is trying to pay for at a self-checkout, and dressing up as a clown and causing a disturbance. At the time making this video, Tanner's...
So yeah, now look, all that stuff is obviously very bad. Okay. Yes, it's obviously wrong to impersonate a security guard and whatnot. So yes, obviously some of the pranks go too far. I'm not saying they don't. Okay. And in fact, a lot of YouTuber pranks go too far in general. Like take, for example, these dudes, I think they're called Top Notch Idiots. Yeah. They very appropriate name, because they would put handcuffs on people. Yeah, total strangers, they just put handcuffs on people. Now, yeah, if someone were to put a handcuff on me, and I mean, yeah, I would think, oh fuck, they're trying to kidnap me or some shit, and I would, potentially respond with a lot of violence, right? But then again, if someone were to fucking just play some silly goose cuss word ringtone, okay, you know what I most likely would do? I most likely would just be like, oh, that's a funny ringtone, ha ha ha, have a good day, sir. Like that's how I most likely would respond. All right. Like I really don't, I personally, again, I don't even preach thick skin. Yeah. Oh, I preach thick skin at a below average rate. All right. I do. Okay. And even I don't think that the fucking ringtone prank specifically was that bad. If someone did that, if a total stranger plays some cuss word message to me on their phone, yeah, some cuss word ringtone. I mean, yeah, it just at face value, it looks like someone's just wanting to show you their silly cuss word ringtone and they want you to laugh. I mean, that just seems like what it most likely would be on face value. Now, that's not the case with the handcuffs. Handcuffs are different. Dress up as a security guard. Yeah, person in security guard is different. But a silly goose ringtone, I mean, come on. Okay, look, again, those of you faggots who preach thick skin to kids, all right? Okay, I can pretty much guarantee you that this Wigger here, Mr. Cook, he was horribly, mentally, even physically abused by his parents and or teachers and or classmates, and he was told what? You just don't show the reaction. Just want to see the reaction. Okay, there. He's following your rules. Yes, if you preach that shit, he's following your instructions. Because you say that, oh, it's no big deal when bullies starship people. Okay, it's the victim's responsibility to just don't show every reaction. All right. Okay, if you're going to preach that morality, if you're going to preach those rules, don't be surprised when your kid decides to, turn to this Wigger prankster. All right, it's your fault, faggot. It's your fault. Now, is Dr. Grande, the expert mental health, gonna ever mention any of that shit, or is just gonna, or is Dr. Safe Knowledge Mill Space gonna just, you know, um, act like a passive aggressive prick and not provide a safe knowledge mill space to very disturbed individual? All right, to disturb Wiggers who need it, according to him at least. Yeah. Okay. Quick question, Dr. Grande, Minty Supreme Mocha, stupid cunt. Do you think that people like the Wigger pranksters need to go see counseling? It seems like you do. Okay. Now, in counseling, are they supposed to get a safe knowledge mill space? I mean, it sounds like the answer is yes. All right. Well, what are you doing? Are you setting a good example? Let's find out.
YouTube channel has over 57,000 subscribers and has been viewed over 2.6 million times. Now looking at Alan Walter Coley. Alan was 31 years old at the time of the incident and lived in Leesburg, Virginia. He was a high school graduate who worked as a DoorDash driver. Alan had a license to carry a concealed weapon. Now moving to the timeline of the incident. On April 2, 2023, Tanner Cook was in the Dulles Town Center, which is a mall located in the town of Sterling, Virginia. Just before noon, Tanner and 3 of his colleagues were in a food court playing a prank involving a translation app on Tanner's cell phone. Alan Coley was also in the food court during this time. On a video that was recorded of the incident, Alan can be seen with a DoorDash order in his hands. Tanner is following Alan while holding a cell phone in his hand. As the two men are walking, Tanner holds the cell phone about 6 inches from Alan's face. Using a translation app, the phone repeatedly plays the phrase, quote, "Hey dip blank, quit thinking about my twinkle," unquote. Presumably, the last word is a reference to genitals. As Tanner was holding the cell phone in Alan's face, Alan pushed the phone away and told Tanner to stop. Alan walked away from Tanner while keeping his body and head turned so he could see him. Tanner refused to stop harassing him and continued to advance.
Okay, yes. And what does a very high percentage of parents, teachers, etc., tell their kids to do in this type of situation? All right, when their kids get picked on in school, all right, when their siblings picked on them at home, what do so many brilliant parents and or teachers and or coaches and or youth ministers, whatever, say to kids? What do they say to the victim? The quote-unquote Alan Coleys, shall we say. What do they typically say to people like that? They typically say, "Oh, you're too sensitive. Don't show that reaction. He just wants an reaction. Besides, freedom of speech. He's just playing some silly cuss word ringtone saying, 'Hey, dipshit, stop taking my tinkle.' You're too sensitive. You gotta toughen up for the adult world." In the adult world, you can't just lose your shit and harm someone physically just because they said bad words to you. Okay, that type of shit is what parents, teachers, etc. typically tell kids in this exact type of situation. All right, so let me just point that fucking out and just majorly highlight and underline that point. All right, that point. Which, I mean, is Dr. Grande, Minty Supreme Mocha, stupid cunt here going to bring that up? Is Mr. Passive Aggressive Hypocritical Douche going to bring it up? Let's find out.
Alan was walking away, and Tanner was in pursuit. Alan said stop again, before retrieving a pistol from his pocket and firing a single shot. Tanner Cook was struck in the abdomen. At this point, Tanner stopped harassing Alan, mostly because of the shooting part. The police were contacted at 11:50.
Wow. I mean, okay. Obviously, this guy, he does have a pretty some pretty witty, snarky punchlines and whatnot. But again, he's supposed to be Dr. Safe Knowledge Mill Space. So is that really appropriate here? Again, I'm not saying it's not funny. Look, I clearly couldn't help but laugh at the joke. But I mean, come on. You're supposed to be Dr. Safe Knowledge Mill Space here. All right. So this is just not setting a very good example. All right. You're supposed to be a doctor, sir. Please set a better example. All right. Dr. Safe Knowledge Mill Space.
7 a.m. They arrived 3 minutes later and found Tanner just outside the mall. He was taken to a local hospital. The bullet pierced his stomach and liver. He had surgery and was eventually released. The police found Alan in the food court. He was placed under arrest at 12:02 p.m. Alan was charged with aggravated malicious wounding, using a firearm in the commission of a felony, and discharging a firearm within a building. He was facing 20 years to life in prison just for the aggravated malicious wounding charge alone. Alan was held without bond. Tanner was interviewed in the hospital. He said, quote, "I was playing a prank and a simple practical joke, and this guy didn't take it very well," unquote. He also claimed that Alan didn't say anything to him, which of course was not true, based on the video. Alan told Tanner to stop 3 times. On September 25, 2023.
Yes. And what do you all think I'm going to say here? Why do you think that the Wigger pranksters didn't stop? Because idiots, parents, teachers, etc. typically, will enable the aggressor and punish the victim who shows a negative reaction, okay? And maybe the Wiggers are just kind of, following the lessons that they were taught by most of their parents, teachers, etc. All right. Again, 4.5 minutes in, has Dr. Safe Non-Dismal Space, expert mental health, has he brought up any of this? Not yet. Will he later on? Let's find out.
Alan Coley's trial started. The state argued that all Tanner was doing was playing a silly phrase on his phone. The prank was bizarre, but not threatening. The shooting represented force which exceeded the threat to Alan. He took a gun to a cell phone fight. Alan's defense argued that Alan shot Tanner in self-defense. Tanner testified at the trial. He said that he earns $2,000 to $3,000 a month with his prank videos. After the shooting, his subscriber count increased by 16,000. Tanner referred to his videos as comedy content. One could argue that testifying this content contains comedy could be thought of as bordering on perjury. Tanner testified that he tries...
Wow. Making fun of his comedy, making fun of his pranks. What a safe non-dismal space. His pranks are funny. When he says it's funny, it's borderline perjury. Okay, I thought you're supposed to provide people like disturbed individuals like the Wigger pranksters. I thought you're supposed to provide them with a safe non-dismal space. I thought that counselor, I thought that counselors in general were supposed to provide people with a safe non-dismal space. Why are you not doing that now, faggot? Why are you just roasting him like some stand-up comedian douche? All right. Okay, this is not a safe non-dismal space. You're just a passive-aggressive, lying, hypocritical prick. All right. Welcome to Hussein Obama's America, y'all.
To confuse the target of his pranks for the amusement of his online audience. He doesn't intend to elicit fear or anger, but admitted that his targets often react with those exact emotions. So Tanner admitted that he causes people to be fearful and angry. On September 28th...
Yes, and what do so many parents, teachers, etc. say? Oh, if the victim's angry, it's not the bully's fault. It's the victim's fault. They just need a tough nut and not show their reaction. Ho ho ho. Okay, there. I just answered the question. All right. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's why the Wiggers thought that this prank was okay to do. That's why they didn't really seem to give a fuck when people negatively reacted, because so many parents, teachers, etc. Again, I'm just repeating myself over again. Okay, what do you guys think I'm gonna say here? You know what I'm gonna say. You know exactly what I'm gonna say. All right, I'm just repeating the same thing over and over again. All right. Again, 5.5 minutes in, Dr. Grande still has not mentioned this.
Case went to the jury. 3 hours later, they sent a note to the judge saying how they were, quote, divided in terms of whether the defendant acted in self-defense, unquote. 2 hours after that, they came back with their verdict. They found Alan Coley not guilty of aggravated malicious wounding and not guilty of use of a firearm in the commission of a felony. The jury found Alan guilty of discharging a firearm within a building, which is a Class 6 felony in Virginia. The penalty for this crime is up to 5 years in prison. Alan's defense attorney argued that the one conviction doesn't make sense in light of the other 2 acquittals. How can someone act in self-defense but still be guilty of discharging a firearm? Either it was self-defense or it wasn't. The jury clearly believed it was. Alan's attorney asked the judge to throw out the conviction. A hearing was scheduled so the judge can decide whether or not the conviction will be upheld. Tanner Cook did not appear to be discouraged by the verdict. He said, quote, I really don't care. I mean, it is what it is. It's God's plan at the end of the day, unquote. Tanner indicated he would continue recording.
Yeah, it sounds like he's listening to, typical parenting, right? Just let it go. Don't be so sensitive. Okay? I mean, it sounds like he was taught that shit. Like most people are. All right? Okay?
Prank videos. Now moving to my analysis. This case has attracted a lot of strong feelings, with many people coming to Alan's defense and arguing that he was not guilty of any crime at all. The state, of course, disagrees. They claim that Alan used too much force for the situation. This brings me to the question, was Alan Coley guilty of any crime in this case? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that he was guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. Tanner was unarmed during the confrontation. His colleagues were also unarmed. Alan may not have known this, but there was no visible weapon either way. Tanner's behavior was unsettling, creepy, bizarre, ill-advised, disturbing, strange, menacing, and harassing. But he did not make physical contact with Alan.
Yes, and there's lots of cases of kids getting bullied in school. That's worse. Oh yeah, dude. I personally guarantee you that you have like so many kids in elementary school, middle school, high school, etc. They are expected to put up with far worse mental abuse than someone playing that cuss word ringtone to them. And again, what are they told? What are they told? All right, you know. But you're gonna say it, Dr. Grande, stupid cunt?
Or overtly threaten him during the confrontation. The nature of the message that Tanner's phone was playing was consistent with a poorly designed prank, more so than an attack. The incident took place in the middle of the day in a mall full of people. It wasn't like Tanner confronted Alan at night in an alley. Alan had several non-shooting options available to him, like calling the police, yelling for help, or continuing his retreat. Moving to the exculpatory factors, Tanner initiated contact with Alan, who was working and minding his own business. Tanner and Alan did not know each other. The confrontation involved Tanner acting in a menacing manner. It was not immediately clear that he was perpetrating some type of prank. Standing at...
Honestly, if some random ass dude were to play some silly cuss word ringtone, okay, I actually would not necessarily find... I don't think I would find that menacing at all. Like, that actually does look at face value like it's just, oh yeah, he just wants to show me his funny ringtone message. He wants me to laugh. Ha ha ha. That's funny. Have a good day, sir. That's... I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that's how I most likely would perceive that if it were happened to me, okay? Now, again, different story if someone puts a handcuff on me, you know, and I don't think it's good to impersonate a security guard, yeah. So, yes, so, some of these pranks and some that people do in general are really fucked up, go too far, like the top-notch idiots. Yeah, their handcuff prank is way too far, and yeah, I mean, and the other pranks that the Wiggers do, the what's it called, the impersonating security guard prank. Yeah, that's bad. It's bad. Okay, so I'm not saying all the pranks are good, but I mean, come on. I mean, if someone were to play a fucking ringtone cuss word message at me, is that like how does that seem seriously threatening? All right, and I don't preach thick skin. I preach thick skin way less than average, and even I don't think that's offensive. So if you faggots are gonna preach thick skin more than me and be more sensitive than me in this area, fuck you, hypocritical faggot, stupid cunts. All right.
6'4", Tanner was much taller than Alan and was accompanied by 3 colleagues. This could be interpreted as intimidating. By pushing the phone in Alan's face and playing a message that used an expletive, Tanner was acting in a way that could be interpreted as aggressive. Tanner had no legitimate reason for engaging in this activity. For example, it wasn't like Alan was a celebrity and Tanner was a reporter. The day before, Tanner had actually been kicked out of that same mall by security after trying to engage in pranks. He knew that he was not welcome there, and that his activity deviated from societal norms. On the stand, Tanner admitted that his pranks caused...
Okay, does it really? Does it really? Does it really? Because again, what am I going to say? So many people expect kids to put up with far worse mental abuse, and a lot of you asshole therapists will tell kids, "You're too sensitive. You're not going to take a space inside your head meant for you. Let it go. That's your every action." Okay, why are you not saying that to people who get pranked by silly wiggers who play silly ringtones on their phone? Yeah, it's like you don't really believe in any of these principles consistently. You just pick and choose. And the real principle you believe in is just target some, favor others, right? You target Shane Dawson. You target the classified goon Wiggers. Yeah, that's their name, right? Their username is classified goons. You know, they're not really... I don't think they call themselves Wiggers. I'm just, being a silly goose here. But I mean, they are Wiggers. Thanks, Obama. So yeah, the Wiggers, the classified goon Wiggers. I mean, I'm telling you again. I think that this is another example of most people, being completely unfair and just targeting people. Yeah, they targeted Shane Dawson. Now they're targeting the classified goon Wigger pranksters. All right. And again, is Dr. Grande going to try to see things from their perspective and point out the lesson that is taught to most kids, generally speaking? All right, 9 minutes in, he hasn't brought any of that shit yet. He's just been passive-aggressive insulting the classified goon Wiggers, right? Thanks, Obama.
Caused people to react with fear and anger. Furthermore, he created confrontations with the purpose of causing confusion. Anyone who sets out to confuse people is taking a risk of causing fear.
All right, are you going to say that to people who choose to bully others to see and have reaction? Or are you just going to talk to the victims of that shit and say, "It's your fault. You're too sensitive. You let them take a space that you had with you. Just let it go." Okay, fuck you, faggot.
During the confrontation, Alan told Tanner 3 times to stop, and on one occasion physically pushed the phone away. Tanner should have known to discontinue the harassment, as Alan's behavior was consistent with fear and anger. Alan...
Okay, and what am I going to say, all right? What am I going to say?
Walked away from Tanner during the confrontation. He did not immediately resort to using lethal force. Rather, he retreated. In addition, Alan was looking over his shoulder as he retreated, indicating that he was afraid of Tanner, like he didn't know what Tanner was going to do, and he did not want to lose sight of him. Instead of respecting Alan's decision to create distance, Tanner continued to advance and demonstrated an unwillingness to disengage.
Yes, and why? Because so often You know why, all right? You know why. Because the victim, because so often we're taught the morals, this bullshit, backwards ass moral code of, oh, well, when someone chooses to intentionally, sadistically provoke and harass you, you, the victim, the bully isn't doing anything wrong. The victim's doing something wrong if they just never react. Just don't show they have reaction. Let it go. That guy's no big deal. Okay, Dr. Grande. Um, okay, when people constantly tell kids that shit, okay, like, don't be surprised when you see a bunch of Wigger pranksters, like classified goons, all right? Like that's the logical outcome of constantly teaching kids this ass backwards, moral code that you guys clearly do not want to consistently follow. Hypocritical pricks. Oh, by the way, let me also mention the fact that most parents who teach kids this don't show reaction, gross thick skin shit, okay, those same exact fucking parents are complete hypocrites. Because guess what? When a kid mentally and or physically assaults them, the parents, do they let it go and not show any reaction? No. They typically show very negative reactions. They scream at, cuss out, and even hit small children over verbal antics alone. So again, that's another thing to point out. Most of these fucking idiots who preach thick skin to their kids, they don't actually believe in that shit. They themselves are very fucking hypersensitive. They will show very negative reactions, lose their shit, scream at, and even physically assault small children over verbal antics alone. All right, so they don't have thick skin. All right, so that's another thing I point out. All right.
At this point in the confrontation, Alan had unsuccessfully deployed 3 strategies to end the confrontation peacefully. Alan repeatedly...
Yes, as did many victims of bullying in SKU and at home, all right? And parents abandon the victim and tell the victim, it's your fault, you just gotta not show any reaction, all right?
He told Tanner to stop, but Tanner did not stop. Alan pushed the phone away, yet Tanner continued to hold the phone in Alan's face. And Alan retreated, but Tanner continued to pursue him. Only at this time, when Alan had exhausted other strategies to defuse the situation, did he resort to using deadly force. The state implied that Alan jumped directly to using excessive force, but he didn't. He used 3 other strategies prior to firing his pistol. Alan shot Tanner just 1 time, which was sufficient to terminate the confrontation. Alan did not continue to shoot Tanner until he was dead. He only used the force necessary to protect himself from a perceived threat. After the shooting, Alan immediately surrendered.
Okay, so question, Dr. Grande, Venti, Mocha Supreme, and everyone else who agrees with him on this. Do you think that children in school should be allowed to, use physical force to defend themselves against people saying bad words to them? Oh, no. Oh, you don't? Really? Why is that? I thought you said, oh, interesting. So when kids get mentally abused, you tell them, a lot of people at least, okay, a lot of people at least, generally speaking right now, maybe Dr. Venti, Mocha Supreme is an exception, but I'm just talking about just in general, right? Okay, most people, like just lots of people in general, they, oh my God, guys, I'm kind of losing my train of thought here. I'm just so offended here. Let me just backtrack a little bit so I can remember what I was going to say.
He only used the force necessary to protect himself from a perceived threat. After the shooting, Alan immediately surrendered.
Yeah, interesting. Oh yeah, so typically when kids fight back against mental abuse, they're told, "Oh, that's never the answer. You gotta respect freedom of speech," because that's how the adult real world works. Is it really? Is it really? Is it really?
Made no effort to avoid taking responsibility as the person who fired the pistol. When considering all the evidence in this case, do I think that Alan Coley was guilty of any crime? No, I believe that Alan was not guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay, so do you think that kids can pull a gun when they get bullied in SKU? Do you think that? Sounds like you do.
And not guilty in reality. Even though his reaction does not represent the recommended response, I believe that, in the moment, he had a reasonable fear that he was in imminent danger of bodily harm. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Tanner Cook appears to have a lack of empathy. He is unable to recognize emotions in other people. This means he doesn't know when to stop with his pranks. He cannot...
Yes, and so do all the parents, teachers, etc., who have no empathy for victims of bullying, and when victims of bullying tell their bullies to stop, these asshole parents, teachers, etc., will tell the victim, again, you're too sensitive, it's your fault, you need to not show any reaction, okay? All right, and again, the classified goon Wigger pranksters, they were almost certainly told that shit constantly. They were probably very heavily mentally, even physically assaulted throughout their childhoods. And they were told, what? It's no big deal. You're too sensitive. Get over it. All right. And then you wonder why they think it's okay to do these silly pranks, all right, some of which do legitimately go too far. But again, I personally don't even think that the cuss word phone prank went that far at all. I mean, if someone were to show me a fucking ringtone like that, I mean, I just wouldn't really care. It just that at face value looks like it's just someone showing you their funny ringtone. Like why would any sane rational person think that's a fucking threat? You got to pull out your gun and shoot them. Now if someone puts a handcuff on you, I do think it's reasonable to drill some holes in them, shall we say? Yeah, because it looks like at face value they're getting kidnapped. But if someone plays a fucking silly cuss word ringtone on their phone, like that doesn't look like a real threat. And in fact, that's far less mental and physical abuse than so many children are expected to put up with on a regular basis at school and at home. And by the way, the people who expect them to put up with that shit, most of them are hypocrites who are screaming bloody murder at the classified goon Wigger's pranks, even though they actually justified those same exact sort of pranks. Pranks are just bad, if not worse, done to non-consenting elementary school children, right? Fuck you hypocrites, fuck you hypocrites, fuck you hypocrites.
Tell if a target is happy, angry, confused, or fearful. Tanner also appears to have a lack of insight. He doesn't see how other people perceive him. He falsely believes that he is funny, and that people watch him because of his...
He falsely believes that he's funny. All right, wow, way to provide a safe, non-judgmental space. Again, look, if you really are going to say that disturbed individuals need to seek counseling for a safe, non-judgmental space, you better fucking be great at providing that shit. Okay, you need to provide a more, safe, non-judgmental commentary, and maybe try to see things from other people's perspective, huh? Yeah. I mean, what the fuck? Yeah, so yeah, video's almost over. About 12 minutes in, you have never mentioned any of the main points I've mentioned, which is the fact that, wow, no, kids are very often told to and instructed to act like this. Yeah. Okay, the Wigger pranksters were, I can pretty much guarantee you, the Wigger pranksters were instructed to act like this by so many of their fucking parents, teachers, coaches, etc. All right, youth ministers. Oh yeah, dude, a huge percentage of youth ministers are total fucking dickheads. Yeah, so many Christians are total assholes, and they preach this 6 shit a lot. It just seems to me that like if this happened in a Christian private school among kids in skew, like the Christian asshole staff would most likely be like, oh my god, you can't react violently when someone says bad words to you. You need to just toughen up and not show every reaction. Okay, just let it go. All right. Which one is it, asshole? Which one is it? Okay, which one is it?
Comedic talent. When Tanner Cook targeted Alan Coley in the food court of the mall, he was determined to record a prank. Unable to recognize emotions, Tanner did not understand that Alan was afraid. Tanner tried to make himself appear like a deranged individual, and he was successful. This forced Alan to provide Tanner an indicator.
Again, I don't preach thick skin like most people do, and I personally would not find it threatening at all if someone plays some silly cuss word ringtone at me. I mean, come on, it's just a ringtone, and it's just some silly cuss word ringtone. Like, how does it even appear threatening at face value? You're a bunch of stupid cunts, okay? And oh, by the way, if you're one of the plethora of people who preaches this thick skin, let it go bullshit to victims of bullying, in skew and whatnot, well then you have no, like what the fuck are you doing here? Like, what are you doing bitching at the classified goon Wigger pranksters? Okay, because you clearly justify doing way worse shit than playing cuss word messages, cuss word ringtones, right? Asshole hypocrites.
Which could not be misinterpreted, namely, a bullet. Rather than accept responsibility for provoking the incident, Tanner played the victim, and the state of Virginia went along with it. They prosecuted Alan. The jury was not sure what to make of the case. They didn't like the idea of Alan shooting Tanner, but Tanner's behavior was so outrageous and threatening, they couldn't bring themselves to convict Alan.
Okay, your average kid in school does far more outrageous shit, okay? So many parents at home treat their kids way worse than simply playing a cuss word ringtone at them, So if you don't call this outrageous antics, well, you better be, just up in arms about the shit that kids are expected to put up with on a regular basis, typically. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is so common for kids to be expected to put up with
And threatening, they couldn't bring themselves to convict Alan of the most serious charge. But Tanner's behavior was so outrageous and threatening, they couldn't bring themselves to convict Alan of the most serious charge. They decided to split the difference. However, the decision was inconsistent. In my opinion, Alan cannot be guilty of discharging a firearm.
Yeah, I agree. The decision is inconsistent because, again, what am I gonna say? All right, what's inconsistent here? All right, hint. I've already worn it out. I've already worn out this point a million times in this fucking video. Okay, what is inconsistent here is how so many of these asshole parents, teachers, etc., will seriously expect kids in elementary school, nonetheless, to put up with worse mental abuse from their classmates and/or teachers, etc. You know, and/or parents. Oh, dude, so many parents. Oh, they treat their kids way worse than this. All right, okay, Dr. Grande. If a breeder sociopath chooses to attempt to non-consensually kiss and or spank a non-consenting child, does that child have a right to pick up a gun and shoot him? I mean, according to your logic, the answer should be yes, according to you, right? But are you going to say that? I don't know. Are you going to say that kids who get bullied in school, kids who get bullied in a far worse manner, are they allowed to bring a gun to school and shoot their bullies in the face? Is that what you're saying? Because it sounds like it is.
Within a building if the shooting occurred during a legitimate self-defense incident. I'm not sure what message the jury is sending. Did they expect Alan to continue to retreat outside and then shoot Tanner? Like Alan was supposed to say to Tanner, I'm feeling threatened right now, but can we take this outside? I would not want to discharge my gun in a building. That could be considered a crime. The outcome of the trial has not eradicated Tanner's desire to engage in nonsensical behavior. Based on the available evidence, it appears as though Tanner's father, Jeremy Cook, is sticking up for Tanner. For example, Jeremy was upset by the verdict. He sent a statement to the media claiming that, quote, we are all less safe than before, unquote. Jeremy called the verdict a product of mob rule and said the media painted Tanner as the aggressor and Alan as the victim. He complained that Saturday Night Live mentioned the incident and supported Alan's behavior. Jeremy said, quote, everyone laughed, so millions of people saw this and just went with it, unquote. The Loudoun County prosecutor told Jeremy,
yeah, okay, how many of these fuckheads say, that's never the answer. If someone says bad words to you, you can't use violence to hurt them. Okay, how many of the same exact motherfuckers who are praising Alan Coley shooting Wigger pranksters, how many of the same exact motherfuckers will constantly tell kids that you can't hit someone just because they said bad words to you? Again, that's all the Wigger pranksters did. All they did was play a ringtone on their phone saying, hey, dipshit, stop thinking about my tinkle. All right. Now, now what is that? Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? The message, it sounds kind of dumb. Like what? Hey, dipshit, stop thinking about tinkle. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But again, it's a prank. It's not supposed to make sense. Again, I don't preach thick skin like most people do. You know, I do consider myself to be a very sensitive man. But even so, even that, despite all that shit, me personally, the so-called, I'm constantly accused of being too sensitive. I've constantly, and I personally do think I'm a very sensitive man. You know, I don't like it when people say offensive, politically correct things to me. At the same time, no, a cuss, if someone comes up, if a total stranger plays some kind of silly cuss word ringtone, I mean, I just don't think that's threatening at all. I don't get offended by that. Why would I find that offensive? And I am, and yeah, I'm allegedly so hypersensitive. I allegedly take things too personally. But again, common trend I found is that it seems that people who accuse me of being too sensitive, they're too sensitive, right? They're way more sensitive than me. This is a perfect fucking example of that, all right? Thanks, Obama.
But the facts supported Tanner was the victim, but the public opinion went in the other direction. Jeremy believes,
yeah, because they're a bunch of hypocritical assholes,
that it is open season on social media influencers. He said, quote, it's cool to just shoot them no matter what the facts are, unquote. Jeremy Cook ended his statement by claiming the world is living in a time where public opinion can be easily manipulated.
Yeah, that's true, all right? That's true.
I think that Tanner's father fundamentally misunderstands how Tanner's behavior contributed to the outcome. The feelings of those who support Alan are legitimate. Tanner was the aggressor, and the state should have never brought charges against Alan. This was not...
Okay. So are kids in school allowed to hit and or shoot their bullies who are saying more offensive and politically incorrect things to them? Because again, I can guarantee you that so many fucking kids are expected to put up with far worse mental abuse. I know I was expected to put up with far more mental and physical assaults than this. All right, I was expected to put up with far worse bullshit than this. All right, and lots of kids are. Okay, so are you saying that those kids should be allowed to punch their bullies in the face? Those kids should be allowed to shoot their bullies in the stomach? Is that what you're saying? Because it sounds like it is. Okay, that flies very much in contrast against what most people will say, which is, you can never hit someone just because they said me words you. That's never the answer. Oh my god. In the real world, you can't just hit someone just because they said bad words. Yeah, how many asshole parents, teachers, etc. will say that shit to victims of bullying who fight back and beat the fuck out of their bullies? How many of these assholes will say that to kids, all right, who respond with violence to more sadistic, malicious bullshit? But then in the adult world, those same exact asshole parents, teachers, etc., who justify who just act like bully, or how should I phrase it? Who just act like it's just so terrible for victims to fight back. Like, how many of them will not be consistent with it and act like it's great for, for people to shoot Wigger pranksters playing a cuss word ringtone? Hypocrites, cunts.
An example of public opinion being manipulated. This was a case of a creepy and unsettling prankster who targeted an innocent person. Tanner is a bully who harasses people and hides behind the idea that he is just perpetrating pranks. Now moving to my final thoughts. Even though Tanner did not literally dodge a bullet in this case, he did figuratively dodge one. This should serve as a wake-up call, but unfortunately, it probably will not. There is a sense that Tanner will keep playing pranks until he is forced to stop. Unfortunately, the force he encounters could be lethal. Those are my thoughts on the case of Tanner Cook. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.
So there you go. All right, the video's over. It's about 15 and a half minutes long. He has never mentioned any of the points that I mentioned, right? Right. Namely what? Okay, it's the point I've been wearing out this entire fucking video, okay? If I need to say it again, I mean, like, no, I really should not have to say the point again. You know the point. You know the point, all right? You know the point, okay? You know the point. Bye.